Hello my friends, and big thanks to all subscribers and moderators, and also a big welcome to all the new members. So some really great news ahead, and I think it's going to be exciting that you can learn how to win a free reading. So let's start with some kind of like general info. So this is a general reading. So that means I don't want the freak out, hey, it's not catered to special me, it's just me, and not every detail of my life is being covered. Well, I'm sorry, sweetie, but this is a general reading. So how I do it, I kind of like focus on everybody of that sign, and also on their ascendant, also on their moon, and also on all the people who might be actually cross-watching. So plenty of people there, so two people of the same sign are never the same. Nothing really beats private readings, so just keep that in mind. Now, what I do suggest is, like, definitely, as I mentioned, to check your sun sign, check your ascendant, check your moon sign. And if you're cross-watching for somebody else, then also check the same, like sun sign, ascendant, and moon, and also their Mars. That's going to tell you their really attitude toward relationships and how basically this is like resonating at this particular time. Now, I really want to also say something else before I go to that great part that you're like waiting for, that this reading, like if you get a private reading, this is like on a double special. First of all, it's only $50, and second of all, you are still taking advantage of the speed up promotion. So it is about 7 days. I'm not going to guarantee exactly the same 7 days because sometimes I have the monthly readings, but within the 7 to 9 days you get the reading back. If it's a regular reading, you can upgrade it to Russian Urgent, but this is really up to you. So are you excited? Let's get to the fun part. And one on social media. So off you go. So guys, it's very simple. If you're being called to be a winner, you just basically from that nick you send, put your email, and that way we know it is you, and that's all you need to do. In the comments you give your email, and then you're contacted at that email, and that's all that takes. So there you go. So I hope to see you on Saturday on live reading, and not only one Saturday but many Saturdays, and many of you are present. So all you have to do is like, hey, I'm here, hi Kat, I'm in Toronto, I am in Arkansas, I am in Michigan. So all you need to do is just like announce yourself, and you have to be present when this is drawn. So this is kind of like a good start, especially for those of you who never had private reading. It's very therapeutic. I'm not fortune teller, I'm actually kind of guiding you through the process, and that's kind of like really easy for everybody, so nothing to be scared of. What I'm going to do the next is I'm going to explain to you how I came up with this Is Your Ex Coming Back spread. This is only for the people who are actually wanting their exes to come back. So I don't want to hear, I don't want my ex back. Just go to the different reading. It's all cool. If you have seen this, if you are a steady kind of like person here, just jump to the reading, see the timestamps below. It took me forever to find a combination of 7 cards that can actually work out and give me the information. These cards are taken from a different deck. They're called significators, and they're going to be identical to every single reading. They're kind of like telling me the category about what they need to know about this particular relationship between you and the person you're asking about. It is only for the people who are, as I said, looking for somebody and want to know more. The magician is going to tell me the quality of this relationship, if this is really a starter, if you cannot go in a different direction, and if this is going to happen. The temperance reversed is going to tell me what is off, what needs to be glued, what needs to be repaired. Is the situation right? Is the person right? What is wrong? And we are going to realize that. Then we have 2 significators. They are interchangeable, either or. You can kind of like pick one, you will see which one resonates more, and also the energy and the communication in between. The Judgment card is our karma card. It's going to tell me, hey, is this supposed to go on? What is supposed to happen here in between everybody? And what do we really need to expect? That's fine designating. And finally, we can make an educated guess to see where is this heading? Where is this going? But again, guys, I did tell you, private reading is private reading. It's only your energy that is involved. So let's start. friends, and welcome to September's Is Your Ex Coming Back? So let's start. The Emperor's reversed. Page of Wands reversed. Whoa, everything reversed. 8 of Pentacles reversed. 2 of Wands reversed. 5 of Swords. The Lovers. And 10 of Wands reversed. Now this is very, very interesting. There is like definitely a sense of shifting to something new. It's kind of really interesting that the major arcana, the Lovers, and I don't know if you can see it here from the light. Oh, you can't see it from the light, but let's see if I can block this somehow. Yep, I would have to sit there to block it so it doesn't really work. So you'll just have to trust me. That is what it is. So the Lover's card here is usually the card, and which is kind of like really misnamed. It is really talking about the choices. The Judgment card, the category, is the one where I really want to figure it out, kind of like if things from the past have been cleared and if decision has been reached. And even sometimes when we make and reach this decision, we are still kind of like debating and kind of like floating in that soup, or sometimes a cesspool of emotions and back and forth and why, and that's called closure. And it takes time, and it takes so much more time than maybe even the relationship itself. It depends which buttons it kind of like pushed inside of us. So it started with the Empress reversed. It is really telling me that some of us really need to get their act together. We maybe turn into a lethargic little blob or slob, and the Empress is like really calling for, hey, get up, you do have your powers, you are pretty no matter how you look like, and pay attention to the things that are working. Pay attention to the nature is not judging you, so why are you judging yourself? Because this kind of like can be a little bit of a clingy nature, which can be easily remedied with activity. So activity is the key over here, because we are not paying attention to some details. And I'm talking about details, I'm really talking about details. Brush your teeth, right? Do your stretches, spend your 20 minutes meditation, praying, whatever it is. These are little details that we kind of like sometimes brush aside, but these are the details that are being called upon here. And that kind of like new concept and returning back to kind of like rolling up our sleeves and being in charge is going to be able to kind of like turn a few things around over here. I think some of us are still falling into that hole of getting grips of what happened and why certain things happened and why certain things, maybe even more so, did not happen. It doesn't look like there is communication from the other person. And if you're checking their social media, oh, they're doing so much fine, especially maybe with some other person who maybe was, bone of contention over here. But karma is saying you are on the right path. You are going in a good direction, especially with this 10 of Wands, which is to me sometimes talking about secrets and carrying something that is too hard, that is like just not a good path to follow. But this can be reversed, so we are kind of dropping some burdens, and like that's what I see here as some kind of like burdens, as something that kind of like really affected us, especially if we are women. This kind of like affected us on so many different levels, maybe even to the point of, oh, I just don't know about relationships. Oh, I don't really know how I can handle this in the future. I'm not feeling pretty anymore. It's kind of like, come on guys, this is clearly saying this is just a temporary mindset, because this is telling that there is like something coming forward for us, coming on, and we need to drop things that we have carried for such a long time. So how this is done, as in this basically example, is clearly saying, you know what, pay attention to the little details, because these little details over time will start to mount to the big thing. I had a boss once, and I really didn't like this boss. I'll tell you the story about him. And it's kind of like when the rich people get the positions where they're clearly not capable of doing. So I was project managing lots of things, and he said, well, you always are working on this and that. How come you're never accomplishing big things? I said, like, well, John, how do you think we'll get there? What is like your idea that somehow that just happens? You know, I mean, this is not playing lottery. This is kind of a work. So he just couldn't kind of conceptualize. I really hated this guy so much that I was like responsible for releasing a newsletter, science newsletter, and he always wanted to, of course, to put his finger in it, so he had to revise that and, you know, and say, you know, if he likes it. So it was like about his likes. So I always had to tone it down to kind of like baby level and his level. So one time, it was just before I quit, because it was just irritating me. I cannot work jobs that I am irritated with people around, because it kind of like stalls my creativity. I inserted one article from Onion, and for those of you who don't know what Onion is, it's a satire. It's not real. They're like really either exaggerating things to extreme or just like blatantly lie. So it was about a baby monitor that you put inside of the mother's uterus, and it is a Sony, a big development, that they can put this like monitor in the baby uterus and you can see your baby. Of course, it's just ridiculous. But he loved that, and I released it. So anyway, you know that I had to quit after that. But you know, as you can see, I'm not the nicest person in the world. So let's continue. 6 of Cups, 7 of Wands. So this is it. Drop your burdens, right? If somebody's irritating you like this, why the heck you want to be with this person? Because this person was not treating you the way you're supposed to be treated. And that's kind of like coming back with, am I settling? Why am I settling? Because how I look? Because where I think I am? So let's see where this goes. The Hermit reversed. And the Hermit reverse sometimes to me is also Aquarius. And that's kind of how it looks. It's either with this person or I'm going to be alone. The Strength, Knight of Swords, and there we have the repetition of 8 of Wands and Ace of Cups. So as I said, there is like something new coming. Look at this combination. It's really, really good. And I really don't want loneliness to take over, because it looks like you're really thinking about this person and yet guarded at the same time. They're like thoughts and things that have been lost, you know. Sure, you can sit and cry, you know, next to the spilled milk all you want. Is it going to happen? Is it something going to return back if something went down the river? No, but what's going to kind of like be a loss for sure is that time. And you, Aquarius, that's why I'm talking to you like this. I cannot talk to a water sign like this. You simply literally need to interrupt that pattern. And when you kind of like see yourself going down that memory lane, it looks like it doesn't kick in that, you know, you're not really protecting yourself with this, because like this is falling in this category that needs repair. This kind of like means, hey, you kind of like have to figure out that you have done probably something that has been very, very important, maybe standing up for yourself, and you shouldn't feel bad about that right now. I guess some here feel lonely. Some here feel, well, you know what, I just, you know, don't know how to move forward. Both of these cards are really spelling to me kind of like Virgo type of attitudes. It's clearly telling me there is like some disorganization. There is no rhythm, and the rhythm has to be established. Look at that. I don't have swords. It's only the partner that is coming in a sword thing. So it might be that you'll try to communicate and make it a shot, and look, you know, I kind of like still love you, I still care about you. But they might really kind of like, and maybe for a good reason, to be really honest, right? I'm not saying that what happened in between the two, it looks like they were like, I mean, 3 was the crowd kind of a thing, or other things came in a way, that's for sure. They love the sense of victory. They love to be the boss. And that kind of like old school stuff doesn't work anymore. Not for sure. And they kind of like want to speak their own truth. So what I'm saying, maybe it has merit, because I can see here that you know, if we fell into that, you know, rabbit hole, if we kind of like are not feeling ourselves, maybe they're not seeing the person they used to see. So that is like something that is like definitely for us to think about it. Did we actually morphed into something else? Did we become a different person? Because they might actually tell us the truth, we might not necessarily like it. But look at that. Karma is saying these are love arrows. And when people tell you, and that's what most people don't realize, and sure, I think the truth without the truth with brutal honesty is cruelty. So you can tell the truth, and like when people say, "Oh, you tell like it is," no, 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 no. You can still tell like it is with diplomacy, and that's the skill. If you don't know how to do it, you don't deserve to be around people, right? Because when I do these readings, like, sure, oh, he's going to like leave you, that's ridiculous. That's, you know, that's kind of like completely out of the way. Or yelling at people, that's kind of like not a way to go, because that basically tells something about you. But here, this is not necessarily a bad card. It's like telling somebody, it could be a little bit sharp. It could be a little bit sharp. So you have to really figure out if this really works. Because even if they tell you, we're going to see what comes later. It looks like there is a potential over here. There is a potential. But again, this potential is, let me see. Yeah, there is a potential for joyfulness. There is a potential for something new. But the Ace of Cups doesn't have staying power. That's the only problem about this Ace of Cups. But the good news is that we are going from 10 to 1. So this new cycle is starting. And this like kind of like a new feeling. So maybe even if I tell us something, we might actually surprise them by saying, yeah, actually I know that. And I know I have lost myself. I know I kind of like got really clingy. But you know what? I do love you. And a part of that love is to work on a relationship with the two of us, which kind of like means more integration. And sometimes like simply kind of like putting things like that can actually help. And there we have the Karma card, Justice, and look at that. We kind of like have now repetition, and it's saying unless you insist that certain things and certain values that you have are valid, right, this joy can be really short-lived. Because this is what the Justice here as well says. And it's talking about something that's going to feel very uneven, something that is going to feel unjust. But this is at the same time being a karma card, saying that you're being karmically tested, that you're basically tested not to strike back, and in fact just kind of like be that smart teacher who is looking at a kid who is blabbing their mouth and just have this like crinkle in the corner of their mouth and just like laugh. That's, you know, that's probably the best response. And there it is. So we did get this Two of Cups as well. And it's going to be you, Aquarius. It's going to be us who will kind of like find that we will be finding us. We are thinking we are on a hunt for that person, but we are really here needing to find who we really are. We have lost maybe that goalpost where we were heading before. Something that is like the most important about us seems to be kind of like lost in translation over here. And you know, that's the self-esteem kind of a thing. When you have self-esteem, then people are just like literally your magnet. Look at it, 6, 6, and 6. And that's this karmic soulmate over here. So this person wants to come back. But this person wants something very unconventional. This person could have been married or in a relationship. And look, they're all in swords. It's like kind of like they're willing to communicate. They're willing to come back. But at the same time, with that, they're bringing the turbulence that has existed there. And this card to me is always talking about boredom and even sometimes disgust. And, you know, they again want to run the show. If you guys want to go back, then you're going to go for a few more spins of the same thing. I do have to tell you that. It's going to be same old, same old. whether you sleep with somebody on the third date or the fifth date or 3 months later or 1 year later, if the person is not right, the person is not right. That's pretty much how it looks over here. And I don't want this joy to be taken away. And I think there is like that sense of, look, if something bad happens, that is a sign that, you know, you should kind of like take as a sign. And especially when you patch something, do not patch it without talking. And talking can be hurtful, right? And talking can also mean being vulnerable and seeing how this person is reacting when we are vulnerable. Are they willing to kind of like come and embrace us, or they will just like pound a little bit more? And I think that's going to be that litmus test, which might not pass. Mind you, this combination here as well can talk about, so this is a positive spin, which also could happen. Somebody might come back to say, I'm not in that relationship, I have divorced, and I am lonely without you. But I don't think it's going to be enough, or it's a little bit too late coming to the party, because it was like a big discovery that had to take place over here, and it was discovery about who we are, what we need to do, and more or less really how not to have the Aquarian temper that we sometimes do have. When we get into the temper mode, it's almost like that button always gets broken, like, right? We rarely push it, but when we push it, it gets broken, and then it's like stuck there. So something has to be unstuck. And it's kind of like understanding how important we are to ourselves. That's going to be really, really be important this month. So let me get one more card. And guys, this is general reading. As I said in the beginning, you can get your own private reading. Contact me at cattarot.ca. So let's see one more card for Aquarius. And I don't always read the description, the Disney descriptions on the bottom. Express your love. You know what? And I think that's actually very positive, because that's the vulnerability that I said. It looks like there will be some kind of communication, and saying what you feel. You can still say I love you. You don't have to be with them, because I think the contract is over. I think you're saying, well, you know what, I feel this as being the karmic, strong, you know, connection, but it is like something that I had to learn, and I think I have learned it. So thank you for being the part of my journey. And the love is basically there for basically realizing that was maybe a gift or something that has been maybe very painful, but nonetheless it was something that helped and will help for the future, and how to deal with this, and maybe we will never have to deal with that again. So my dear Aquarius, you know that I love you, and I hope this was helpful. So I would love to see your comments, and if you're not a subscriber already, just click on this button, so that way you're invited. And so in live reading, you can get a chance to get that, you know, free reading. So just when you're in a live, say hi, and you can leave your email, or you can just leave your email once if, you know, you're being called your name. So make sure you're present, and until the next time, you know that I love you, and I hope to see you on Facebook and on Instagram. All the best.